hereby solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of this state and of the United States, and on all questions.
New session, new faces, new issues. Good evening and welcome to Lawmakers on this first day of the 2025 legislative session. I'm Donna Lowry in Atlanta. Beginning tonight, we're celebrating the 55th year of Lawmakers. Throughout the session, we'll dip into our archives to revisit some memorable moments from previous decades. Later in this show, you'll see a special clip from 1979 when then-President Jimmy Carter spoke before the joint chambers, and they showed him his portrait that is now inside the Gold Dome. This session marks the start of a new biennium, a two-year term that continues through the end of the 2026 General Assembly. We expect a busy 40 days, and to kick off a preview of what to expect, we'll hear from leaders of both chambers on both sides of the aisle. Joining me on set tonight, we'll have two newly minted leaders, the Republican Senate Pro Tem, and in the House, the Democratic Minority Leader. Also today, Governor Brian Kemp held a late afternoon press conference, and we'll discuss his comments. But first, I'm pleased to have our Capitol correspondent, Sarah Callis, here in the studio. This is your fifth year covering the Georgia General Assembly, but as GPB's political reporter, you've had a busy year since the last session. So what happened on this first day?
It's great to be here with you, Donna. The legislature is back in full swing as new members were sworn in today and started laying the groundwork for the new session. The first day in the Senate started low-key, with Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones welcoming new and returning senators.
I would like to welcome everyone here today. It is wonderful to be back. Wonderful to be back. How's everybody doing this morning?
4 new senators, 3 Democrats and 1 Republican, joined the chamber as the whole Senate was sworn in.
All right, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do hereby solemnly swear or affirm.
Even with the new Democrats, the power balance will remain with the Republicans, who still have a 33-23 majority. Also of note, the Senate celebrated the start of Senator David Lucas's 50th legislative session.
It's been my pleasure. I got educated up here. It's been my pleasure to serve. Never thought I'd be here this long. This is the place where you get real lessons about Georgia. What Georgia is about, what it means for us to do the best that we can for our Georgia citizens. It's been a good 50 years. Hope I can do another.
Good job.
With that, the Senate was seated and the new session business was conducted, including electing Senator John F. Kennedy as the Senate President pro tempore for a 3rd year. Longtime Secretary of the Senate David Cook's replacement, James Tripp, was also unanimously elected. But a more controversial issue was brought up as the Senate passed the first 6 Senate resolutions. Senate Resolution 5 would reauthorize the Senate's investigation of Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis's appropriation of money in her case against President-elect Donald Trump for election interference.
It's not only the work of that committee that requires us to continue, but it has been the actions of the district attorney to fight our lawfully submitted subpoena. And as you have probably heard, in December, Judge Ingram ruled that we were indeed correct, and we do have the power under the Georgia Constitution to subpoena her for this work.
Democrats pushed back, calling the continuation of the investigation purely political.
This is a fixation on the past. But worse than that, it is a fixation on the past that is driven primarily by the obsessions of one man.
The resolution was passed along party lines, 33-23. Meanwhile, the House kicked off the 2025 session by swearing in members, including 18 new representatives. Supreme Court of Georgia Chief Justice Michael P. Boggs administered the oath of office.
I hope you find your public service as enjoyable as I have mine.
Members also re-elected Jon Burns as the Speaker of the House in a 153-21 vote, and Speaker pro tempore Jan Jones in a 158-19 vote.
Together, we will prioritize the future generations of our state by fully funding quality basic education, expanding funding for pre-K programs, increasing literacy initiatives, and providing pay raises for our teachers and educators across Georgia. And together, we will continue championing every citizen, business, and family that calls our state home.
He also highlighted strengthening the medical workforce, protecting IVF, and banning transgender girls from participating in girls' sports as other priorities. Long-term Clerk of the House Bill Riley, as well as Corey Mulkey, head doorkeeper, and Betsy Thiru, House Messenger, were all re-elected unanimously. The House also approved new rules for the chamber, which included limiting how many bills a member can introduce.
This would make clear that a member during each session shall not introduce more than 10 bills. And I just want to provide some clarity on this. Certainly to streamline the process with respect to Legislative Council and the Clerk's office when they are processing the amount of legislation that has to come through, it's very helpful for them to be able to process that in a timely manner so that we have copies out on our desk, that we're able to consider legislation in committee.
The House approved a schedule for the full 40 days before gaveling out. The House and Senate will reconvene tomorrow for day 2, after the annual Georgia Chamber Breakfast, Eggs and Issues. Donna?
Well, Sarah, lots of formalities on this first day, as always. You also covered the governor's press conference this afternoon, where he focused on education. Tell us a little about that.
Yes, so Kemp announced a one-time addition to the school safety grant.
Every year, each school will receive over $47,000 to spend on security-related infrastructure or staffing. As all of us remember, the horrific tragedy last year put these investments to test. And had those supports for school security not been made, that fateful day in October could have been even more tragic. With that in mind, I am proposing an additional $50 million in one-time school security grants.
He also announced funds to increase funding for school transportation and to increase the school psychologist to student ratio.
Okay, so last night you and I both attended the Wild Hog Supper, which is the unofficial kickoff of the session, and it was held at the Georgia Freight Depot. It's an event put on by the State Department of Agriculture and the food banks of Georgia. And of course, the devastation of Hurricane Helene throughout Georgia's farm and timber industries, that was a top priority. So you talked to some people about that.
Yes, absolutely. I think Hurricane Helene relief was top of mind for many legislators.
Working with the governor and others, and through the Georgia Development Authority and through the department, have invested about $100 million in our farm families and helping them get back on their feet. Congress has passed the disaster package, which will start being dispersed to our Georgia farm families as well. But we look forward to working with the General Assembly and ensuring that we have the right policy and the right investment to continue to allow those farm families to succeed. You know, our number one industry impacts every Georgian every day, and its success is tied directly to our state being able to be the best state for business every single year. And so it's important that we focus on those policies that allow agriculture to continue to succeed, and we're going to help do that. And that's the focus of mine as the commissioner this session as we work with our legislators to make that happen.
I think number one is hurricane relief and what we're going to do to help the communities that have been devastated from Hurricane Helene. You know where I live at. I mean, our family, we suffered really a generational loss, and it's that way for communities all over where I live. I mean, literally, we went to sleep, the sun went down, and when it came back up, a third of our ag economy in the state of Georgia was gone. You know, and of course, agriculture is our number one industry in the state, and so literally to think about it in those terms, you know, $6.5 billion worth of damage in 12 hours.
Lawmakers tell me to expect relief legislation early in the session.
Yes, well, in addition to hurricane relief and trying to deal with that devastation, I spoke to a few lawmakers, too, who talked about what they hope are priorities this session.
two of the top issues that I continue to work on are gun safety and healthcare access.
It's been about 20 years since we've had a major legal reform in Georgia, so look forward to working on that issue this year.
I'm looking forward to continuing to look for ways to reduce costs for everyday Georgians and to support our families and working families to ensure that they have the resources that they need. So hopefully it will be a busy session, hopefully it will be a productive session where we focus on those economic kitchen table issues and not so much on the divisive cultural issues that tend to pop up every once in a while.
But I'm trying to also protect farmland. We're losing farmland in this state at a rapid rate, and we need to be looking at that asset in our state and trying to protect it.
Yeah. Now, Representative Dickey says Georgia is losing farmland to development, from economic development to housing, commercial and industrial. He says solar facilities are also replacing farmland. We'll talk about all of those issues throughout the session and bring on the show the legislators sponsoring the legislation to talk about them. And of course, Sarah, you'll report from the Capitol. It's been good to have you here, but you'll keep us up to date on everything.
Great to be here. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm glad you were here. Thank you so much. Coming up, a look at what a couple of the leaders from both sides of the aisle see as priorities this session. We'll talk school safety, tax relief, tort reform, and more. After a break, this is Lawmakers on GPB.
Georgia Farm Bureau, a grassroots organization dedicated to preserving Georgia agriculture. Farm Bureau advocates for all Georgia farmers at the state capitol during the session and year-round. Georgia Farm Bureau, the voice of Georgia farmers.
It's good to have everyone back together.
Good news indeed.
Put your feet up a minute.
It's beautiful.
How does that sound to you, man?
It's what I love doing.
Cup of tea.
I was thinking more a double whiskey.
Hurry up!
Freshly baked biscuits, always.
Well, this is all proving rather cozy, isn't it?
Understanding the past gives a sense of the future. This is the first time that anyone has seen this in 2,000 years.
This is amazing.
Well, I'm excited now.
Pompeii is a battle against time.
You think I'm joking, but look at this. It did really happen.
Don't let anybody tell you who you are.
History teaches us to honor the past.
When you look back, you're like, wow, that was pretty special.
This is something that's actually altering the course of history.
You're charged with keeping these stories alive.
Welcome back to Lawmakers. I'm Donna Lowry. What better way to start the new General Assembly than with leaders who keep abreast of what's happening in their parties? Joining us in the studio is the Republican who the Senate today voted to once again serve as President pro tem, Senator John F. Kennedy of Macon. He was first elected in 2014 and immediately served as the governor's floor leader. He continued his rise in leadership since then. And also here is Democratic Representative Carolyn Hughley of Columbus, who last fall became the House Minority Leader. This is her 32nd year as a member of the House. Her previous leadership includes serving as Minority Whip of the Georgia House of Representatives and so much more. Welcome to you both. Thanks for being here. Let's get right down to the priorities with each one of you. I know school safety is a top issue. And with you, President Pro Tem, I know the Senate is already looking at making schools safer. We heard about that today. So what are your thoughts on that, and especially given the tragedy we had here in Georgia at Appalachia High School?
Donna, thank you for having us, and thank you for the opportunity to talk about something that is so incredibly important. You know, the tragedy that we've seen visited elsewhere came home to Georgia this year with the shooting at Appalachia High School. And so it has certainly brought our attention fully focused to say and determine what do we need to do to make sure that schools are safe so that when children are there, they feel safe so that they can learn. Parents feel like they're dropping their children off at a safe school, and the teachers and staff that are there feel safe as well. We actually appropriated $109 million for school safety last year in the budget. And so I think we've seen some leadership from the governor's office as well as some from the Senate Republicans on this issue. But I was very pleased, and thank you for the good coverage on Governor Kemp's announcement today of an additional $50 million for school safety. That's going to be deployed to the local folks so that they can determine how best to harden the schools, whether that means more safety resource officers, or if they need more metal detectors, or whatever it may be. They can make those decisions and tailor the needs so that schools are made more safe.
Yeah, and I know that you agree with all of that, and education is a big part of your priorities also with the Democratic side.
Yes, but thank you for having us, and congratulations on the 55th year. But as we look at school safety, I think we need to be sure that we address the external threats, but also the internal threats as well. So all of the things that the senator says we agree with, but we need to continue to make sure that students feel safe within their buildings. And that includes having the appropriate level of school counselors and school social workers to help our families with the things that they bring into the school and the problems that the children have. And it also requires us to do more in mental health. And these things require us to look at both ways, internal and external, in order to make our children safe. So it's got to be more than harden our schools. We got to make sure we create the environment to take care of the social and emotional well-being of our students as well.
Yeah, I think that's certainly something everybody is looking at. Another issue, absenteeism, that we may hear you talk about this year. Talk about that.
Yeah, Donna, thank you. So this is something that's come on my radar screen fairly recently, and we have a chronic absenteeism problem with our school students here in Georgia. It was a problem before COVID. The numbers spiked into the 22%, and unfortunately, they have not receded since COVID. We took a look as lawmakers and certainly people at the local level several years ago and focused on graduation rates. And then we moved in and focused on literacy rates. I know Senator Billy Hickman in our chamber did a lot of work and passed some good legislation to address literacy rate issues and the problems we have there. But the truth is, if the kids are not in their seats learning, they're not going to get to the literacy level that they need, and they're not going to graduate. And if they don't graduate, they're not going to be able to participate in that great dream of being independent and that dream that we all want for our children. To put one more number on it to show you how significant it is, the 21% number equates to 360,000 Georgia students that are chronically absent, meaning that they are missing 10% or more of the school days where they're supposed to be in school. So it's a problem. It's something we're going to look at. We're going to focus on. Not sure exactly what the solutions are, but we need to talk about it.
Okay, we're going to hear you talk about it throughout the session, so
yeah.
I appreciate that. I want to get into some other issues. I know that maternal health is another issue you plan to focus on.
Yes, of course, in Georgia, our stats in terms of maternal health are very, very poor. I think we're at the bottom as it relates to that, and particularly as it relates to African American women. And we have to make sure that women in Georgia can take care of their reproductive health and they can have children and be safe doing so. Part of it is because we don't have the physicians all across our state to take care of these families. And another reason is that people don't get into health care early enough in pregnancy in order for them to have a safe outcome at the end. So this is something that our caucus has looked at and has worked on for several years, but there's more work to do. Georgia can do better by the women of our state, and we're going to continue to press that issue and hope that our friends on the other side of the aisle will help us.
I want to get into a lot of issues, so I'm going to switch it around a little bit, and I want to get into tax relief. That is something that we may see this year that Georgians have seen for the last few years.
You're right, Donna, we have, and I think that's something that, quite frankly, from the governor's office down to the other leadership in both chambers for the Republicans have really led on this issue. We've budgeted conservatively. We've been smart and thoughtful about how we spend the taxpayers' money, and that's resulted in part, along with a good economy, with about a $12 billion surplus. Governor Kemp has stated that one of his intents is to take $1 billion of that surplus and return it back to the taxpayers. I wholeheartedly support that approach. That's just one of the ways that we've tried to provide tax relief. We've also been rolling back the actual income tax rate, which we've done for 3 years in a row. I expect we're going to do that again this year.
Okay. Switching again, let's talk a little bit about more of your priorities in the Democratic Party.
So for us, it's all about three things. We want to make sure that the people in Georgia have an opportunity to live, to learn, and to earn. Those three things are so important to us because it's all a part of us pursuing the American dream. Georgia has long been the state that is the #1 place for business, but we also got to make sure that we provide opportunities for our citizens to thrive as well. So we got to take care of housing. We got to take care of education, starting with early education. We want universal pre-K for all of our students because we have to start with them early in order for them to make the gains that are going to be so important to them. And we also got to make sure that we look at hope again. We really want to give the people of Georgia hope. Wanting to return it back to its original design, because we made changes when there was shortages in hope. But those shortages no longer exist. And we need to deliver on the promise that we told the people of Georgia that if you play the lottery, if you go in with your dollar and a dream, you're going to be helping deserving students from middle and low-income families to succeed.
And so you're talking about the Hope Scholarships, been around since the early 90s, and
Yes.
you'd like to, and it's changed over the years.
Yes.
And you'd like to see it return to where it was, which was, for remind people.
So when we originally started talking about hope, I can remember the governor talking about if we have 2 teachers and their children should be able to go to school. So it was really for middle and low income families to have an opportunity for those students to go to school and be able to progress. And we wanted to keep deserving and bright students in Georgia. That's what it was all about. And we need to get back to that and encourage more of those students to have an opportunity to take that advantage of hope. Because when you look at it, when you think about it, look at the people who are playing the lottery, who are funding this opportunity. And those communities should have more a benefit as a result of that.
All right. Let's switch to another topic, and that is tort reform, which a lot of people don't necessarily understand, but that is dealing with the awards that people might receive from lawsuits in the civil system. Talk a little bit about it, explain it, and then what you're thinking of doing. The governor, I know, has been pushing this.
Sure, and you're right. A lot of folks don't know it can be tort reform. Some are calling it tort relief. Some are calling it lawsuit abuse relief. Whatever the name is, what we're trying to do is address the fact that in our civil justice system, where folks need to be and should be fairly and adequately compensated, but we find out that sometimes because, excuse me, of the rules being a little imbalanced, excuse me, that it turns into more of a gambling sort of scenario where it is a desire to get an award that is not fair to all of the parties. And so what we're trying to look at doing, and you're right, the governor has been speaking about this for about 2 years now, is simply a rebalancing of some of the ways that our civil justice system works, and it is not a wholesale change in the way civil lawsuits are tried. But the truth is, if you ask everybody, tell me how you're doing with your auto insurance policy or your homeowner's policy or your business policy, they will tell you that the rates are continuing to skyrocket here in Georgia. And there's a reason for that, and that's related to these nuclear verdicts or these excessively large verdicts that are coming down that are simply out of scale and out of sense with whatever the intended desire for the recovery for the plaintiff. And so this is a way to try to get things rebalanced. And so we're going to be looking at that and trying to do something with that this year. It's been coming a long time coming, and I'm glad the governor has spoken so many times about this, and looking forward to his leadership on this. And I know that many of the folks in my chamber are anxious to get something done as well. It's not just a business issue, it's those folks that pay insurance as well. And folks need some relief.
Okay. I know we're going to talk a lot about that. And I want to give you a chance. We don't have much time. Is there something else you wanted to mention?
I want to talk about that for just 1 second, if you don't mind. Insurance rates have gone up, but it's not just about the verdicts. The things that insurance pay for has gone up. If you're talking about car insurance, you talk about the cost for repairing the vehicle. Everything has gone up that insurance pays for. And I think it's an oversimplification to say this is the only reason. And we need to make sure that we have balance, but we need to look at it fairly and with clear eyes as we move forward. We hadn't seen the governor's package yet, but
I hate to.
That's okay.
Well, the good thing about this is the beginning of a debate we're going to talk about throughout the session. I want to thank you both for being here. I'm sorry we ran out of time. We're going to talk more about it later. We'll be back actually with celebrating Lawmakers this whole month. And as we celebrate, as we end the show, we want to bring you a clip from the show on February 20th, 1979, when then President Jimmy Carter returned to the Capitol on the day of his portrait being shown to him. He got the chance to see it the first time on the second floor of the Gold Dome. We'll see you tomorrow.
And now, a great person of whom we are all proud, a former member of this distinguished body, the President of the United States. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Please be seated. You don't know how nice it is to see a picture of yourself that's not 80% teeth. It would be impossible for any of you to know the deep feelings of sentiment and emotion that I feel standing here at this podium. I'll never forget the first day I came to the Senate with 5 or 6 of you still members, and with many of those who stand on my left. Peter Zach Geer was Lieutenant Governor. Carl Sanders was governor. Garland Byrd sat next to me. I was eager to learn about the duties of my first elected public office. And I made friends then that have stood me in good stead ever since. Many of you helped me a great deal in those early days as a senator, as a candidate, as governor, candidate again, and now as president. I know it has been somewhat of a surprise to many of you that I was successful in the elections. And as I look around, I have to admit that it's a surprise to me that some of you were reelected so many times yourself.